Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over with you guys how I am using my MakseLife Planner to set up my budget. This is the first time that I have used this or done this layout, so I'm maybe tweaking it. This is just kind of like a preliminary layout of how I want to do it. I want to tweak this before I go into my 2021 planner. So I thought I'd start messing around with it now so I can feel good about moving into my 2021 MakseLife Planner when the time comes. So I combined my vertical and my horizontal layout here. So I have double everything. So that leaves a lot of extra pages, and there's really not a strong need for double notes and reflections, a double weekly goals page. There's just a lot of like repetitiveness in here. So I wanted to try and figure out how I could use those extra pages because I don't really like leaving things blank. And I kind of like having a planner that has everything in one. So I decided to just kind of play around with this until I found something that works. This is the first time that I'm doing this, so of course I'm gonna find things that I like and don't like, so I'll be sure to share that with you guys. I'm just gonna go over today what I've been doing so far in November. At the end of the month, I'll do a recap, and then maybe a week or so into December, I'll go over, what I changed and how I'm liking it. So you guys let me know how you like this, what you wanna see, tell me all the things. Some of these pages are not quite done yet, so as soon as I add those in, I'll make sure to just do a recap at the end of the month so you guys can see how they all look. All right, now because I combined the layouts, I do have double pages here like I mentioned. So I do realize that it is, today I'm filming this on the 11th. So I do realize that I'm halfway through November almost, and I don't even have my regular monthly view set up. But let me tell you what I've had going on this month. Work. Literally just work. I've been working like crazy lately and spending time with my kids. My mom does fly into town, so I might spend some time making this nice, but I have not done my personal layout. I have done my budget. I do like to color coordinate things, so I have a little grid over here that shows what's what. The green marks the paydays. I don't know why I really wanted to do these expenses in these different colors, but I did. It's fine, it's whatever. I was gonna do orange here, and then I didn't like the way it turned out, so I did gray over it. So this is the daycare charges, mortgage, other expenses, and then our tithe. This babysitter charge does seem kind of weird. I pay our babysitter $10 a month who watches our kid at small group, and then Lindsay is my babysitter who is helping me out this month while Steven's gone. She's watching my kids while I work. So that's this. This is just kind of an area for me to have, and maybe I'll go back through and even do like a check mark through here once I have paid this bill, just to know it's done and out of the way. But I like to see this so that I can see, okay, I'm getting paid on the 13th, and the 13th has to cover all of these bills. So I want to make sure that I set myself up in a way in which this paycheck between the two of us is going to last us between this, and then once you're past that and you figure out, what you have left, if you're like, oh, I get to this day and realize I don't have any other bills, okay, well, that lump sum of money that's left, or, if you have a lump sum of money left, you can apply that to either your debt or your savings, whatever that may be. But that's kind of how I do this. So then we get paid. I get paid on this Friday, and my husband will get paid here. So it just I didn't write all the mortgage and everything else here because it kind of starts a new month, but I did want to note that this is when Steven gets paid. So to kind of roll into December after that. So I'm just gonna kind of briefly go through this. I'm horrible, I know. I have not set my monthly goals yet. Actually, this is my extra page. So technically, so the pages that will go along with my vertical, I don't know how I'm gonna do those monthly goals and weekly goals because I don't really need that many, right? So here you have your first two pages. This would be like your typical, like if you're gonna use a vertical and that's it, you would open your page and have your monthly layout. You'd have your monthly goals, your your personal, fun and recreation, work and learning, all the things. You'd turn this page. It would be your notes and reflection. And then these are all extra pages, remember, because I combined my vertical. So then these pages essentially wouldn't be here. So you'd have your notes and reflections, and then you would turn right into this weekly actions if you just had one layout. But because you have two, you have lots of extra pages. So that's why I'm trying to figure out how I can use all these pages in a good way. So this is my monthly budget. I haven't decided what I'm going to do here with my monthly goals. Now this is where I have my monthly budget set up. So here I'm going to list, I personally am not going to list exactly my income on here for now. I might change that later, but for now I've decided that I'm not going to include my income on here. It's just, some things are just left, you know, to be personal. So I'm gonna list my income here. I'm gonna list out my expenses here. And I've actually done this on a separate page that I'm not gonna share. I did it in October, knowing that I was gonna share in November. I'm not sure how that's gonna go. Obviously I need this to work with me and not just be something that I share with you guys. So I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna make that work yet, but maybe I'll share my numbers. I don't know. I really haven't talked to my husband about it yet, so it's something that I'm going back and forth on. But here's my income. Here I'll list out all my expenses, the amount that my expenses are, the amount of cash envelopes the type of envelopes, the amount of envelopes, the types of sinking funds that we have, the amount, and then this is a really important part. So here you want to look at your recap. So you want to list out what your expenses are or what your income is, and then you're going to minus your expenses, your cash envelopes, and your sinking funds. That's going to give you a number right here that's left over. So here you're going to want to send your leftover somewhere, right? You don't want it just sitting in your account, spending it recklessly, or not spending it and then just not really knowing what's going on. So I'm going to note here where I'm going to send it to. So I, in October, got Invisalign. So I'm going to be using this extra money. One of this is going to be Invisalign. And then I might put the amount, so the name of where it's going, the amount, and then my savings, and then the amount. But this should equal 0. So when I do my income, minus expenses, minus cash envelopes, minus my sinking funds, my leftovers. So like, let's say I had 500 here. I'm just making up a number, but let's say I had 500 here. I'm gonna write Invisalign, 250, savings, 250, so that when I take, you know, that 500 that was here, I minus these two, this number should be 0. It should always be 0. That's how I like to do my zero-based income budget, or, you know, just you're getting back to 0. What you could do, I have a really good cushion in my account. I don't need to add any more to my cushion, but when I started out in my expenses, I would add a cushion. So like $30 a paycheck, I would just continue to leave unaccounted for, but I would account it for in my expenses so that I would get back to 0, but my account wouldn't necessarily be 0. I just took all of my income and made sure that I made a spot for each dollar that we earned. So I know that scares a lot of people, and they're like, I'm not gonna spend every single dollar that I make, because then what happens if something comes up? Well, ideally you'll have an emergency fund, and then also you have your sinking funds. So, you know, instead of just having your regular monthly budget to pay for Christmas, if you've been saving for it, you have a nice little cushion saved up for your Christmas account, and you don't just have to magically make hundreds of dollars appear and work within your budget now that it's Christmas time, right? Like, how'd you know, you didn't have an extra $500 laying around in September, you can't expect to have an extra $500 laying around in December, unless you're somebody that gets some nice bonus or something like that. But that's how I tackle our monthly budget. I'm not sure how I'm gonna use this weekly actions page, because remember, oh, you know what, this should be my regular weekly actions page. So if I was just using a vertical, this would be my normal page. This is a week where I worked, so I did not have a chance to outline these weekly actions. Before I came on here, I was gonna write just survive on here, because I'm literally just barely surviving at work right now. And it's only November 11th. And back then it was November 2nd. So it should be a great fourth quarter. So one thing I'm starting is I want to be able to use my vertical to map out my time, and just to kind of be able to use a kit and have fun with it. So I just quickly laid this down, and I was writing out all the things that I was thankful for. Oh my gosh, when I read that right now, I thought that said my haters. I was like, what? My health. That's funny. I wasn't feeling good this day, and so I was just really grateful for overall I have a really good, you know, healthy immune system, and I'm just thankful I'm not someone that's sick a lot. But anyways, so I did just lay this out so that I didn't feel pressure to like go in here and like jot things down that I wanted to get done before the week was even here. It was kind of stressing me out that like if I put, you know, assigned tasks these days and then I didn't do it, then I was like really overwhelmed with the fact that I didn't do it. So this was my first week of just kind of leaving some white space. I was supposed to go back and kind of jot down like what it is that I did on these days. Again, I think I would just have to write survived on here, because it's literally what my weekend has been like lately. So anyways, that's that. Let's see. And then this next page is going to be my vertical. Oh wait, no. So, okay. So if you are, and it would be my horizontal is what I meant, but okay, so this next page is going to be, if I was only using my vertical, this would be my summary. This is where I would wrap up my week, before I would start my next week. So if I was in a vertical, like I said, you would have, this would be your notes and reflection, this would be your weekly actions, and then you would go into another vertical. But because I am combined my vertical and my horizontal, my next page is my horizontal. You guys are not going to be happy to see what it looks like right now. I am so serious. I didn't know what to do. I did this layout on like Friday, so obviously I didn't write anything in here. So anyways, let's go back to this. So because I have an extra space here, I decided to go ahead and track my paycheck tracker. So again, I have my income. I didn't list it just for this. And then I listed out all my expenses, what I'm using for my cash envelopes for the next 2 weeks, what I put into my cash, I put cash envelopes, so this will say sinking funds. So I have a really good cushion going right now for Christmas. I just actually had to buy some glasses and contacts, so I've been saving up for that, so it wasn't a big expense, thankfully. So in my recap, I would put my income minus my expenses, minus my cash envelopes, minus my sinking funds. I'd be left with a number, and then down here at the bottom, I'd want to write what I'm going to put that to use for. So again, this is the page I was saying I'm not really sure how I'm going to use this, because going into my vertical, I don't necessarily need to list out all my weekly actions again. It just kind of seems redundant. So I'm going to figure out what I want to do here. I don't know yet. Still thinking about it. I already showed you guys my shameful week of nothing. This is like one of the only pages that I haven't figured out exactly what I want to do here. I'll figure something out. It might even be an area where I do like my monthly cleaning. I thought about also doing like stuff that I sell around the house, because there is a bunch of crap that I want to sell around the house. So this might be a good area for me to note like what I listed, if it sold, if it didn't sell, if it did, what it did sell for. And then, so this is going into my weekly actions, because I'm starting back at my vertical. So this was this week that we're in right now. So these are all my weekly actions. These these stickers are super cute. They're from Hand Can Plan. They're actually on sale right now, so you should head over to her website. She has a really good sale going on these right now. All right, flip the page. This is my vertical. Again, leaving a lot of things blank so that I can go back through and fill things in as I do them. I meant to put morning routine and wake up at 4:30 here, but I was running out of time in that video. So there's that. So over here I have my sinking funds. I'm gonna do a whole video soon on sinking funds again if this is something that I get asked about, but this is the fund. This is what I started with coming out of October. This is what I added based on what we just talked about over here in the paycheck tracker. So I put this amount, went right here. Anything that I spent in the last 2 weeks goes right here. So anything I spent between 10:30 and 11:13 that could come out of these sinking funds, I'm gonna list that here. So now I know that I can take this amount, $585.91, and put it back to wherever I use. Like right now I'm using my debit card, so I would just send that back to my debit card account because I use that in order to pay for these things. So now I need to pay that back. So now I have that. So this is where I'll use my space for the next sinking funds, and then I will start add, subtract, and then I'll have my ending balance. So again, not sure what I'm gonna use this weekly actions for because it is kind of redundant to use it twice. This is my to-do list area where I'm supposed to jot down all the things that I'm doing. I have a lot of stuff to add into here. I can go back to my daily to kind of see what I was up to these days and see how I was able to work on those goals that I set. This is where I'm gonna make a spending tracker. I haven't quite yet, but I'm gonna make one there, and I'll show that to you guys at the end of this month. These are weeks that have not happened yet. I'll have another paycheck tracker, so it will look exactly like this one. Because it's a new paycheck tracker, so all these expenses will be different, minus babysitter and the mortgage, because those happen every single time, and my husband's truck, we pay it bi-weekly. So that'll be the same exact paycheck tracker there, just different expenses. We will pause on the weekly actions because it'll go into the vertical. Now this is one page that I'm super excited about. When I was aggressively paying off debt, this was one of my favorite pages, so I can't wait to get this set up and I'll show you guys. But that's pretty much how I have my budget set up. There is no more pages to use because at the end you're gonna have a monthly reflection. So this one will be a personal one that I do, and then this one is gonna be a budget one that I do. So I'm really excited about this. I'm sorry to cut it off short, but I did want to just make this video short for you guys. Please let me know in the comments if you liked this, if you wanted to see anything different, and what you'd like me to go into detail more on next. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll be back with some more Plan with Me's and budgeting tips.